You guys know I love podcasting and listening to podcasts, and I'm guessing if you're listening to this that you love podcasts too. Have you ever considered podcasting yourself? It is a great way to reach your audience, grow your know, like and trust factor, and not need to show your face unless you want to. If it is something you've thought about but you don't know where to start, then head over to becomeapodcaster.uk/BAP quiz, BAP quiz, to access a 2-minute quiz that will help you work out what type of podcast might suit you. That's becomeapodcaster.uk/BAP quiz. Today we are looking at that age-old work-life balance, but it's going to be different to what you might think. Let's jump in. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so happy to have you here for this episode because I think it is something that we all want to strive for but struggle with. So I am here with this episode to help you take a different look to work-life balance. And the first thing I want to say is work-life balance doesn't exist, and it can never exist. And here's why. Sometimes we are working to tight deadlines and we have to work late, or we have to get into the office early and we can't pick the kids up from school, or we can't take them to school. And other times your kids, your parents, your pets are going to be going through things that you need to be there for, and work is going to have to take a back seat. Talking to people about and striving for work-life balance, in my humble opinion, can be bad for your mental health, because the truth is you are never going to get that 50-50 balance. It's just not going to happen. To me, you've got to think about your work and your life like a compass. When pointing north, you have perfect balance. But how often are we actually travelling north? So get this picture in your mind's eye. West to east is your life, going across the north there. East to west, passing through the south, is your work life. Sometimes your work life is going to be travelling in a southwesterly direction, which means that your life is sitting at northeast, and no one is getting much attention at home. Other times, your life is going to be in that northwesterly direction, and your work is going to fall into that southeast of Nothingsville. There is this push and pull, and there always will be during our working life. However, we do have some control over this, and it's not about finding true north. So with that push and pull, with that every time work takes a little bit more of your time, your life is losing time. And when your life needs that time, work is losing time. But there is an awful lot of guilt that we carry around in both venues. So it's not like, oh, if I'm giving my family attention, then I'm all good because, that's why I left my corporate job. That's why I want to be at home with my family. That's why I'm here. It's not, because you feel guilty that you're not working. You feel guilty that you've got a deadline looming. You feel guilty that you've got something that you promised to email to somebody. There is all this guilt associated with it. And when you are working late at night and the kids are in the living room stuck in front of the TV, you feel guilty because you should be in there with them, or you feel guilty because you promised them that you were going to take them to the pictures or to the bowling alley and you can't. And, there is always this guilt associated with it. So it's just not good for us. And the fact is, your work and life are never going to be completely in balance. Because if they were completely in balance, then you're only actually giving 50% of yourself to each. Now, doesn't your family deserve more than 50%? And don't you think that work is going to require more than 50%? So it's not about balance as much as it's about a priority scale. Sometimes work will need more of you. Other times, family is going to need more of you. Sometimes the family are going to need to sacrifice you for a while, and sometimes your business is going to have to take a back seat. But as business owners, we are in control of making sure that each gets what they need when they need it. Sometimes you're going to say, but they both need me. They both need me right now. But it's rarely true that they both need you at the same level. So this is when your tough decisions have to be made. This is where your priority slider comes out. Which is going to matter most in 5 years' time? That you finish that blog post, or that you sat with your child who's upset with something that happened at school? You are in control over your priorities. And for many of us, having flexibility to be with our families is one of the big reasons that we went into business for ourselves in the first place. So keep that in mind. It is so easy to say I'm busy when the kids want to show you something. I know because I have done it. But in reality, that thing that you're busy with is still going to be there tomorrow or later when the kids have gone to bed, if you really need to get it done that evening. And don't forget, our other halves miss us too when we're locked away past business hours. I know because I get a head poked round the door. Are you coming to sit with me tonight? And I feel bad, but I'm trying to work on this business. I'm trying to make something. I'm trying to create something, a better life for us. And I feel like if I'm sitting there doing nothing in the evenings, that I am not doing what I should be doing. And this, like I say, they say that those who need to do teach. And I'm teaching you. I'm also teaching myself here. I'm talking to myself when I'm saying this, because it is really important that we look at what we want from our businesses and from our life. Sometimes it is going to take you longer to get the success you want in your business because you have to prioritize your family more, especially if you've got younger children. Mine's 21 now. She's pretty self-sufficient. She does live in the same house as me, but you wouldn't believe it half the time. So she doesn't need me. So I have that flexibility to work whilst my partner is at work. So he leaves the house at sort of 8:30 in the morning. He comes back at about 6 o'clock. I have all of that time that I can work, and I don't have to worry about where the kids are because mine is grown up and looking after herself. But you might need that. You might need to take that time to look after your children. And there is nothing wrong with not reaching your business goals in 2 minutes flat. There is so much out there that is saying, oh, I reached a 6-figure business in 12 months. I did this in this. And we are looking outside constantly at these people that you can make a success in 7 days and all of this. And it's like, no. That's their version of success. What is success for you? Never put your business before your family would be my advice, because your family is really important. Now, there is times where things are going to happen. For example, we're in the wedding industry. There is no getting around it that weekends are going to be our main busy days. We are going to be away from our families. But part of that is why we do it, isn't it? Because the other person in the family, or maybe your mum, your parents, your aunts, your uncles, whoever it is, they can have the children at the weekend because they're not at work, and they can do fun things with them and they can go and take those, and you can work. But then during the week, you can take the kids to school and you can pick them up from school and you can take them to after school activities. There is always going to be something that you can't do because of your business. But there is also going to be times in your business when you can go, no, my child has their nativity play today, so I am not going to be working this morning. And that is the luxury of running your own business. Now, by doing that, yes, you're not going to be forging ahead as quick as somebody who can, like me, can sit there from 9 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night and just work. But you are going to have something better. You're going to have children who appreciate the fact that you were there for every nativity play, that you were there on sports days, that you were there for the Christmas Carol service, that you were there when they needed you, that you could go to all of the parents' evenings. And that is where the balance comes in. Yes, you may not run your business and get it to the ideal success point as quickly as you might like, but you're able to be there and do something that isn't available to many parents who are stuck in a day job. So there are advantages to working your business, and you need to remember that those are the advantages to working your business. You can take that time. It is okay to change things around. It is okay to work 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. in the evening so that you can go and pick your kids up at 3 o'clock and stay with them until they go to bed. You can make those choices. But I think a lot of the times we're so busy trying to give this 50-50 balance that we're forgetting that 50-50 also means that you're only going to be able to give 50% of your effort and time. It is much better to turn around and say, do you know what? No, my child is getting me for 100% of my time on Friday morning because they've got a Christmas Carol service. Or, no, sorry kids, I need these 2 days to plan my business for next year. So I am not going to be available this weekend, and I'm actually taking myself off to a cheap hotel room and I'm just going to focus on my business. And you guys are going to spend the weekend with the grandparents having a grand old time. So, you just have to kind of choose where you are putting your focus, and it is okay for your business to be the focus sometimes, and it is okay for your family to be the focus sometimes, as long as everything is being looked at on that priority scale. What is more important right now? And if you don't have children, your work-life balance may look different. It may be a different priority scale that you are working towards. But remember, you have friends that want to see you. You have family that want to spend time with you. And you may look at it that, you know what, for the next 2 years, I'm just going to buckle down and I am going to work my ass off to make this happen. But you have to remember, and we spoke about this with Matt a few weeks ago when we were talking about hustle culture, is that you don't want to get stuck in that time frame. You have to remember that you committed to 2 years or 6 months or whatever it is of really giving everything to your business, and then you need to reap what you've sown. You need to take that back. You need to then be able to take that holiday. You need to be able to take that month sabbatical. You need to be able to remember the why. Why did you say you wanted to commit to doing it for 2 years and just going hell for leather at it? Because you wanted to give yourself that freedom. So I guess this is all coming back to your why. The why for your life. What is it that you really want? Do you want to be spending more time with your family? If so, make that the priority in your scale. Yes, it means your business is going to grow more slowly, but that is fine because you are going to have those memories with your children, your husband, your partner, your wife, whoever. You're going to have that because you made the life the top of the priority scale. Now, if you want your business in this season to be top of that priority scale because you're just starting and you know you're going to have to put in that effort, then you need to come to terms with that yourself. The people in your life need to understand where you're coming from. So you need to explain it to them. Look, this is how it's going to be for the next 12 months, 18 months, 2 years. It's going to be like this. I'm not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z, because I need to make sure that I am focused on moving the business forward. And then you need to bring that why into your planning. So where we were talking about our low season series a couple of months ago, we were talking about that low season priority planning series. So when you're looking at what you want for the next 12 months when you're looking at what your 2023 is looking like. Make sure that you're keeping that in the back of your head. I have promised myself that I'm going to give myself 18 months of real hard graft to really establish myself, to really get this awesome reputation. I'm going to go above and beyond for every client. I am going to do X, I'm going to do Y, I'm going to do Z. But then I am going to find that stability. I am going to take back some of that time. I am going to allow myself to do the things that I want to do with my family, because that is why I'm building this. I am building this. I want this to be good so that I can step away and do X, Y, Z, so that I can spend more time with my children, so that I can go on holiday and not worry about it. So you have to look at what those priorities are, and you have to look at, it's a season, it's a life, it's what you want from it. So when your children are little, it may be that you just sort of, you just taking step by step with your business, just step by step, just little by little, and you're not focused on this becoming a multi-million pound business owner. That's not the focus here. The focus is to have a business that can work around your children because they're young. And then maybe when they get to that age where they're a little bit older and they don't want us around anymore, because that does happen, guys. Sorry if I'm going to burst your bubble there, but it gets to an age where they're just like, Mum, you're embarrassing. Like, don't come. I don't want to see. It happens. It happens to the best of us. It happens to the worst of us. It just happens. They don't want to be seen with their parents so often. So there does come a time where when that happens, you have the opportunity to say, okay, well, I'm going to focus more on my business and push it further forward so that I can start building that retirement fund, so I can start looking at early retirement, so I can make sure that we have extra money so that me and the other half can go on holiday without the kids once a year. All of these different things that you can look at when you can accept that balance isn't the goal. It's not about balance. It's about what is taking priority at that particular time, and being able to let go of one so that you can be there 100% for the other. And you have to look at what that is for you. What do you want that to look like in your life? So think about your work and life as a compass. It is always swinging too close to the west on the work side of the compass, and your family and friends are missing out because you're always too busy to have fun. Isn't business ownership about giving you freedom to live your life? Don't forget to live. Okay, it can be so consuming, all consuming almost, when you start a business and you are in the thick of it and just so excited and you just go for it. But make sure that you are looking at that priority scale and making sure that you are getting what you want out of your life, and that your family is feeling connected to you, and that your business is ticking along nicely. Okay, guys, that is it for this week's episode. I hope that has made you think about work-life balance, in quotes, in a slightly different way. I don't look at it as balance. I don't think there is any such thing as balance across life, unless you are both weighing exactly the same amount sitting on a seesaw. I don't think there is balance in most things. It's give and take. I much prefer to think of it as that sliding scale or that compass, where if the arrow moves one way, it's moving exactly the same amount of distance on the other side in the opposite direction. So you are always going to be giving either more to your family or more to your business at any particular time. You just need to make sure that those times are what's right for you, and that you are happy with the choices that you're making. Because the last thing you want to do, especially if you've got little children, is to look back in 10 years' time and go, God, I just wish that I had spent more time with the kids. Because for a lot of us that do have children, this is the whole point of us starting a business, is so we can be around more for them and we can choose when we are working and when we aren't. And I think a lot of us then just fall back into the corporate way of doing work and don't allow ourselves that time to look after our kids and give them that time that we wanted to with our businesses. So if you have children, definitely have a long, hard think about this. If you are somebody who is a workaholic, you don't have children, and you are just working every hour God sends, I would like you to think about it too, because it isn't necessarily the best thing for you to be working all the hours God sends. So have a think about it, guys. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with somebody who you know in the industry. Give it a like on the podcast apps, share a review, and do share it on social and tag me at Donna SPWV. I would love to see you over there on Instagram. Until next week, bye for now. Don't forget to hit those stars and leave a review of the podcast where you listen if you found value in what you heard today. It's a free way you can help the podcast reach more people just like you.